Back on Inside Tennessee, talking about redistricting. Again, this process happens every 10 years based on the U.S. Census, and the idea is one person, one vote. That if you live in Knox County, no matter where you live, the equal number of people in your district should be equal to the district next to you, so that your representative has at least as much power to vote as the one that is sitting in the next district. Susan?
Yeah, and looking at some of the maps that have been printed, proposal 3.5 was Commissioner Ward's, and there was a map that said proposal 5 that belonged to Commissioner Lundy. Are we now all agreeing on one map, 3.5? And I also read, Dasha, that you made the comment that the battle wasn't over. Is the battle over? Have you all agreed on 3.5?
Well, we still have to vote. So, of course, the redistricting committee has been dissolved because we voted on the 3B map. So 5 is actually out. But I do believe there is some retweaking that needs to be done at 3B, and that goes within discussion with the commissioners and more public forums.
Okay. So let me just be clear about that. Again, this is map 3B. If you go onto the website, that's what you'll see. It's Commissioner Ward's proposal. But again, as Commissioner Lundy is saying, there may be room for tweaking. Commissioner Ward, to Susan's question, might we see some of these areas changed?
Sure. So there's a possibility for it to change. With any change, it's a domino effect with these maps. So you change one precinct, you could have to change 2 or 3 more just to get the numbers even. That's why it was so difficult for everybody to get to a map where we had a minority majority, because the amount of tooling you'd have to do to get there is very difficult. And it's hard when you're just looking at a piece of paper and you see a whole bunch of numbers to understand, how the jigsaw puzzle works. So is it possible? Yes, it's still very possible. There's lots of discussion still to happen, but it'll be very difficult.
Well, historically, I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
Well, I was just going to say, I know that there have been some people that were upset because they said it split their neighborhoods. In the next 2 meetings, have you heard from any neighborhood groups that do plan to be at the next meeting to protest about their neighborhoods being split up?
Sure. So I've heard from people in the Ebenezer area. So the Ebenezer area is in my district. It's also in Commissioner Schoonmaker's district. It's also in Commissioner Smith's district. So it's actually represented by 3 different people. And the children that go to school there actually have 3 different school board reps depending on what school and what grade they're in. So they would all like to be consolidated underneath one district. I'm sure we'll hear from people that have been moved. But other than that, for me personally, that's the only area in my district that I've heard from. Oh, that and Bearden High School.
And tell us the issue there just before we move to Don.
70 to 80% of my children go to Bearden High School, but Bearden High School is not in my district. That's the main concern there.
So to both of you, Dasha and Kyle, you mentioned it just a moment ago, County Commission ultimately has the final say, and I believe it's actually 2 votes. And I tried to do a little research back historically. There has been instances where County Commission does in fact make minor changes to the map to accommodate some of these split neighborhood concerns, but I assume there's some small percentage, I don't want to call it percentage of error, but percentage of flux that could occur without disturbing the formulas. It may only be a few hundred, but there is some built-in for that. Is that correct?
Yes, so there's the 5% deviation up and down. Like I said in the first segment, the problem this year is we're actually moving much bigger pieces than years past because of the data coming in late. We haven't been able to break down the precincts. So it actually puts another layer of complexity to all this, because if we move one domino, instead of it being a 4,000 person piece, it's a 14,000 person piece, which makes a bigger wave and a bigger effect down the line. So it's not as easy in years past, and we can't split precincts. That's the election commission's job to split precincts, not us.
Right. And Dasha, I know that both you and Kyle are fairly are newcomers to County Commission, relatively so. But what concern is there? Because there's another step beyond county commission, and that unfortunately is litigation, lawsuits. And we see so many lawsuits over redistricting, whether it be on the national, state, or local levels. Do you have any concerns that this map or the tweaking of this map might lend itself to litigation, someone suing the county for the redistricting plan as proposed?
No, not with the 3B map, because it helped maintain the minority-majority number. But I do want to go ahead and say, I don't know how much time we have. Let's think about why that law exists, because people wasn't valued. So it makes it hard when, you know, we have the neighborhoods are mad because they suffer because of the law that we have to obey. And I can't wait till we get to a point that it doesn't matter of the race and all that stuff, that people will be seen as equal. So, because it's all about who can run for office. It seemed like District 1 was the only district that you can win in if you're a person of color, and that becomes the concern. But I'm just hoping to see one day that people of color will be able to run across all of Knox County without even having those issues. But we are not there yet. But as far as this map 3B, it shouldn't have any implications of a lawsuit coming.
A critical point there.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ward, we're going to leave you with the last word. What do you want the public to know going forward? Because there are opportunities for more input. Again, you're going to see 2 more votes from your fellow commissioners on this.
Sure. We want to hear from the public as much as possible. We have a website online they can go to. They can leave comments there. We have 2 more public meetings where we'll have 2 more votes. So as much involvement as possible, we encourage. Besides that, we just please reach out to your commissioner or email the commission email address, and we'll have one of the commissioners reach out to you.
Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Lundy, thank you so much for your perspective and your input today. I think it's helpful for our viewers to understand this process moving forward and how they can play a role. So thank you for your time. Best of luck to both of you, and we'll be back with our talk around right after this.